Want to dominate your ESPN fantasy football drafts this week? In today's video, we're going to go over a draft strategy specifically to dominate your fantasy football drafts on ESPN. I'm going to break down the first 8 rounds of your draft, pretty much what they will look like according to the ADP trends. I will give you guys targets in each round, players to avoid in each round, and the best values at each round. My values are going to be based on ESPN ADP versus Underdog ADP. If you don't know what Underdog is, it is a drafting platform for best ball, but every drafter has a buy-in. So there's not people on there playing in free leagues who have done zero research with no incentive, just doing randomness during draft. This gives us an opportunity to follow the money and has some of the sharpest fantasy football minds on there. So although Underdog is a best ball platform, I still prefer their data over platforms like ESPN and Yahoo, for example. Overall, it's going to be more reliable. So with all that said, let's go ahead and dive into everybody's favorite round of the draft, round 1. So in round 1 of your ESPN draft, for the most part, this is what it looks like. The top 3 picks are JJ, Chase, and McCaffrey, followed by Eckler, Kelsey, Tyreek, Cooper Kupp, Bijan, Saquon, Derrick Henry, Diggs, and Devontae Adams. Now you'll see that this is color coded. White means that it's pretty much at the average position, so you can always feel free to take anybody in white. Yellow means that they're being a little overvalued on ESPN. This light green means that they're being a little undervalued on ESPN. Orange means that they're being overvalued by at least a round on ESPN. And when you see red like this, it means that they're being overvalued by around 2 rounds or more. The darker green means that they're being undervalued by at least a round, and the brighter greens like this one means that they're being undervalued by at least 2 rounds or more. So if you have a top 3 pick, my favorite values here are JJ and Jamar Chase. If both of those guys are gone, can't really go wrong with CMC, even though he does have some red flags for me. If you're at that 3 spot and you want to go wide receiver, then I would go Tyreek Hill or Cooper Kupp. That's basically how they go over on Underdog. That's also how I have them ranked. I'm out for the most part on Eckler this year. He's 28. It's his 7th year in the league, a different offense that's not going to pass to the running backs as much. So that's why I'd rather go with Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp here. Now, Cooper Kupp does also have some red flags. He's coming off some injuries, plus his quarterback's coming off some injuries. The Rams have a really bad offensive line. So if you don't want to go Kupp, I don't mind Bijan here. I know it seems like they're taking him high here as a rookie in the first round, but remember back to Saquon Barkley's rookie season, he was going in the back of the first round just like Bijan. That year, Saquon Barkley put up 24.1 points per game. He was the RB1 in the league. 385 total points overall. So I'm more than happy to take Bijan here because he has that same upside. If you're in the back end of the draft and Hill, Kupp, and Bijan are taken, then I'm looking at Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, who's way down here, and AJ Brown, who's even further down. You can see that AJ Brown is going almost a round later than where he is on the Underdog platform. Again, the best values here is going to be Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp, and Stephon Diggs. And the last note, lately I have been kind of leaning towards that running back when possible in the first round, because in the second round there's only 2 running backs that I would actually take there, and in the third round there's no running backs I would want to take. So ideally you want to take a running back either in the first or second round, because if not, you're probably going to be doing a 0 RB build. Players that I'm definitely avoiding in the first round that are being overvalued: Derrick Henry, number 1, going 10 spots ahead of Underdog ADP. This dude is 29 years old. I don't know how much longer he can continue to put up RB1 numbers. In the past 5 seasons, there have only been 3 running backs that are 28 or older who finished top 15 in fantasy points. So at this price, I'm definitely avoiding Derrick Henry here. Saquon Barkley also going 6 spots earlier here. Now, I don't mind Saquon, but in the first round, I don't know, it's tough as the RB4. He finished RB6 last year, so you're most likely drafting him at his ceiling. I prefer Tony Pollard in the second round, going as the RB8, who has top 5 ability. So round 2, once again, we're looking for that upside, that elite top 5 player, either at wide receiver or running back. In round 2, I'm avoiding quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes is going 8 spots earlier than on Underdog. Josh Allen going 7 spots earlier. Josh Jacobs is another person I'm avoiding at this price point. Historically, running backs who had the most touches the year prior usually have a down season the following year. On top of that, Josh Jacobs has missed the entire training camp. They have a new quarterback, so it's probably going to be a new offense. At this price point, I am out on Josh Jacobs. The best values here are going to be Nick Chubb and Tony Pollard if you're looking for running back. If not, my favorite are CeeDee Lamb, Garrett Wilson, AJ Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Jalen Waddle. All of them going way later than what they're going on Underdog. I'm also avoiding DK Metcalf here, going at wide receiver 15. The last 2 years, he's finished at wide receiver 15. So you're basically drafting him at his ceiling. In round 3, my targets here are Olave, Higgins, Devontae Smith, and Mark Andrews. Basically, every running back in this round is overvalued compared to Underdog. And honestly, my favorite thing to do here is probably go tight end. If we go down, we'll see that basically every other tight end afterwards is overvalued. And I don't really want to spend a first round pick on a tight end. So Mark Andrews seems to be the sweet spot. Players I'm avoiding here are Joe Mixon, Travis Etienne, Najee Harris, Joe Burrow, and Aaron Jones. All of them going a round higher than on Underdog. The best values in this round are going to be Chris Olave, Devontae Smith, and Mark Andrews. In round 4 is pretty simple for me. Calvin Ridley, who's going as a wide receiver 16, and he has top 5 upside in a pass-heavy scheme. Or if you really want a running back, you have the rookie Jahmyr Gibbs or Ramondre Stevenson. Players I'm avoiding here are Justin Herbert, TJ Hawkinson, George Kittle, Darren Waller, Dameon Pierce. All of them overvalued by at least a round. George Kittle overvalued by about 2 rounds. The best value by far in this round is Calvin Ridley for all the reasons that I just mentioned. We are now in round 5, and you can see a lot of red here. This is probably the round with the most red in the draft. So let's talk about the players we need to avoid here. Alvin Kamara, he's going 3 rounds earlier than on Underdog here. Rashad White also going 3 rounds earlier. James Conner going 2.5 rounds earlier. Kyle Pitts going 2 rounds earlier. And Miles Sanders going 1 round earlier here. I'm avoiding all of those players in this round. Now, what I like about the 5th round, if you need a wide receiver, you can go Christian Watson here at a great value. You can also go Breece Hall here. Right now, you have an injury discount on Breece Hall. I love grabbing him here in the 5th round. You also have DJ Moore going about a round and a half later than on Underdog. So a great value pick there. You have Deontay Johnson going as a wide receiver 31. That's crazy because that's exactly where he finished last year, which has been his worst year in the last 3 years. And that was due to not scoring any touchdowns last year. You can see in 2021, he finished as a top 10 wide receiver. So I'm happy grabbing him here. Or if you want an elite quarterback, this is probably the last round with an elite quarterback before a drop off. So I'm often taking Trevor Lawrence here in the 5th round as my elite quarterback. In round 6, a few players that I'm avoiding here: Dallas Goedert, Deshaun Watson going 2 rounds earlier, and Isaiah Pacheco also going 2 rounds earlier. The best values here are going to be Jerry Jeudy going about 3 rounds later than on Underdog. Now remember, he does have an injury, so count on him being out for the first few weeks. Mike Williams in a great offense, but he's boom or bust. Terry McLaurin, again, great wide receiver, just in a bad situation. I don't know what that offense will look like this year. Tyler Lockett, I love Tyler Lockett. He's going as a wide receiver 28. And in the last 5 years, he's finished as a wide receiver 13, 16, 8, 13, 16. So yeah, that's a steal. If you need a running back, I don't mind Madison here, Cam Akers, Javonte Williams. In round 7, a couple great values here. Brandon Ayuk is going 2 rounds later on ESPN. George Pickens going a round later. Drake London going 3 rounds later than he is on Underdog. Marquise Brown going a round later. J.K. Dobbins going a round and a half later. And Christian Kirk going 3 rounds later as a wide receiver 32. Now some players to avoid here: Evan Ingram, Dalvin Cook, and Pat Freiermuth. I'm also avoiding any defense and kicker in the first 10 rounds. I also don't mind David Montgomery here as RB31. And then finally, the 8th and final round we're going to take a look at. First off, just avoid these guys. Kirk Cousins here, Dak Prescott, David Njoku, Aaron Rodgers. There's really no reason to draft any of those guys here in the 8th round. The best value by far in the 8th round is probably Jahan Dotson, going about 3 rounds later. I also like Michael Pittman here. If you need a running back, DeAndre Swift and Khalil Herbert are both great options as well. Beyond the 8th round, I'm basically just looking for value. I'm looking for upside, and I'm looking to fill out the rest of my team. JSN is going about 3 rounds later now that he's injured. Sky Moore going about a round later. Sky Moore is a good dart throw because we really don't know who's going to be the top wide receiver in Kansas City, and they do have the best quarterback in the league. Jordan Addison, I love this pick here, going 3 rounds later than on Underdog. Michael Thomas is a decent dart throw. Zay Flowers Flowers, again, another rookie that's going to have a lot of playing time, going 3 rounds later in a possibly high-scoring offense. Gabe Davis going almost 5 rounds later. You could take a shot on another rookie QJ here, Quentin Johnston, going 4 rounds later. Anthony Richardson, he's a rookie, but he has a lot of running upside. And one of my favorite picks is all the way down here, Elijah Moore, going almost 6 rounds later, 57 picks later than on Underdog ADP. He is the wide receiver 2 in Cleveland. If you want more in-depth details on the players that I am targeting and why I'm targeting them round by round, check out this video right here where I give you guys my favorite draft strategy this year in fantasy football. I'll see you guys there. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos just like this.